Hi, I'm Cynthia Schiller. Please like and subscribe where we help and heal one day at a time. I had just done a video where I brought up skeletons in the closet, the pain that the narcissist feels, and I kind of related it. If you bear with me, I just want you to hear this. I mentioned the LGBT and Q youth suicide rate, and I related it kind of to what a narcissist is going through. Not that I'm saying what their sexual preference is, but the pain that they feel. Imagine having skeletons in your closet that you're just too afraid, just like a youth, where they don't want to come out. They don't want society to judge them. And that's kind of like the narcissist. They got to keep everything inside because they are too afraid of what can come along with that. So I just have two sentences. Being LGBTQ doesn't really necessarily put these children at a higher risk of suicide, but it's the discrimination, rejection, fear, and the harassment that might come. So that's kind of where the narcissist is they have all these skeletons in the closet. And imagine, I'm heterosexual, but imagine having this secret that's, you know, you want to love the way you want to love, who you want to love. And if you got to like either change who you are so society doesn't judge you, or be alone, and you just don't know how to handle it. So you're living this lie, and this lie can be painful because you want to pursue your hopes and your dreams. So you have these skeletons, and you're just so afraid of coming out, just like the narcissist is so afraid of people seeing who they really are. So they keep these skeletons inside because they don't know exactly what the repercussions will be, but they can kind of tell what's going to happen. Just like people in the gay community, they probably know there's going to be some people out there, unfortunately, that will harass them or see them differently. And they don't want to be seen as different. That's why a lot of times people with cancer, they don't tell their family members. They don't want to be treated differently. Same with the narcissist. They're not going to say, hey, I'm a jerk, because they don't want to be treated different. They like what they've gotten, the adoration. They keep this facade up. But that can be painful. And I relate it to the gay community because I am heterosexual, but I'm like on the opposite scale of them. Like I couldn't just pretend to pursue a woman or want to be with a woman. But I don't want to be alone. But unless I come out, I have to be alone and I'm missing out on my life based on society. And that's with the narcissist, based on their community of friends, family, workers. They can't show the true them. So that's why they'll lie. That's why they'll manipulate conversations so they don't have to come forward with the truth, to where often they will make us assume, just like covering up what's really inside, who they really are. Using certain words to confuse us, certain word patterns. A lot of times you can see, not, I wouldn't even say a lot of times because they are master manipulators. Sometimes you can see, but if you question them, it's almost like questioning somebody who does have that secret. Like, let's say they're, I don't know, in seventh grade, and people are like, are you gay? Are you gay? And they're not ready to share that with the world. So it puts them really uncomfortable. So they'll either lie, or turn it around like, what you probably are. And it's like that question wasn't answered. It's a defense mechanism. So the answer goes on unknown. It makes you like off balance. So you're like, oh, you jerk, and you walk away, and don't take that the wrong way. Just like a defense mechanism. I hope that didn't come out the wrong way. To where people get offended, just like somebody who came out and you said it the other way. But the narcissist will go through life keeping those skeletons in their closet. They will let you see, take a little peek in. When that mask falls, you'll see the bones of their face. But they still keep the rest of that skeleton hidden. So you never know the true who they are. Some of them let the mask fall more than others. They let you see inside their soul a little bit more because it's exhausting, holding up that mask. there's only so much you can do. After a while, you get tired. And especially, a lot of them have large groups of friends. Um, they can be popular. And that's exhausting with all those people. If they had a smaller uh, circle of friends, maybe it wouldn't be so exhausting. They could take breaks, but they don't like to be alone. So everything about it is exhausting to them. It's all a facade. That's where that mask comes in, the facade, the fake front. Um, and they try really hard not to let you see inside them because they know who they are. And they're just not ready to let the world know who they are. They don't know how to change themselves because they got stunted. They're stuck in a certain part of their life when they like gave up on something. I'm moving forward, I'm maturing because it got to be too overwhelming. I did another video where I said that, I used to do back handsprings and I did one and I smashed my head terrible. Never again will I do it alone. Ever. No matter what. And that's like them. They're like, I got too hurt. I will not cross over into adulthood. Like, this is my safe zone. My safe zone right now is not doing those back handsprings. I don't care if it would bring me an Olympic medal. I am not doing it. And that's where they are. They don't care what the payoff is by changing who they are. For one thing, they don't know how to. For another thing, it's too exhausting. And they're too scared. It's like the seventh grader who doesn't want to say, yeah, I'm gay, because they don't want to be harassed. They don't know how to handle at that age the harassment. So they're going to get bullied. They're going to get rejected. Their whole life is going to change. So just like the narcissists, they don't want their whole life to change. They don't want to lose their house, their spouse, their children to, visitation, things like that. They've purposely built their life. They've written the script, and they make sure that we adhere to it. They kind of trick us into it, to where we become subservient to their needs, and they know exactly how to make us feel bad, even when we try. You know, to where we overcompensate. And this is where it gets hard, is when we overcompensate, it gives them the right, or the open door to undercompensate. So when we want to make things better, we think that they're going to look at us like, wow, they're really trying, I should try too. But unfortunately, with a narcissist, when you I don't know, take your kid to the zoo and they're like, let's go to Disneyland and then let's do this and let's do that. They get used to it and then they kind of get spoiled and turn into brats. And that's kind of like with the narcissist, is they just turn into kind of little spoiled brats and they just expect things. Like the 4-year-old's not going to be like, oh, what can I do for mommy? I think I'll clean my room today because she was so sweet. No, it doesn't even cross their mind. So instead of thinking like an adult, like that was really sweet, maybe it's my turn to take them out to dinner. It's just like a 4-year-old where it's like they start throwing temper tantrums, and that's like how some of them will go into those rages. That is their mental stability is, I don't know, anywhere from like 2 to 10 years old, sometimes 12. They will get stunted somewhere along the way, whether their life changed or they just were bombarded too much and they just had a cutoff. That's their cutoff. That is their mental age. It's exhausting to them to try to change that. If you sat down with a 4-year-old and you tried to get them to change the way they communicated with people, they're like my daughter like struggled with her tone of voice. Like she just didn't get it for over 2 years. And she was so kind-hearted. It was so sad. She just didn't know how to talk the right way. It took over 2 years of working with her because she just didn't communicate. Like my mom would ask her, what she would like for dinner. She's like, I don't care. And then my mom's like, would you like this instead? She's like, I don't care. And my mom just was like, she just gave me attitude today. And my daughter was like in tears. She's like, I don't know what, like, I mean, I really didn't care what I had. I was glad she was feeding me. And knowing who my daughter was, it was really sad. But that's what narcissists are like. They're like, I just want to be loved. Well, you want to be loved. You got to talk the right way. You got to communicate the right way. You can't just take like the 4-year old wanting to go to the park this time and, you try to communicate. Like, I would do that for you, but, as an analogy to the child, you're like, but it's raining. They're like, I don't care. And you're like, but it's also lightning. It could be dangerous. Like, it's not going to be dangerous. I know what I'm doing. Same with the narcissist. They can't logically process, what we say, whether it's like, let's go to counseling, or let's talk through this. They just appease us. And so we think things are good. So we continue on. And it's like trickery, master manipulation, the lies they tell, um, to protect them, not to protect the relationship. And it gets exhausting for us, overcompensating, because that's where we get drained. And that's where we start to get confused. So we do start talking more, and that annoys them. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to admit any fault. So they shut down more. We, at this point, need the communication, and they don't want nothing to do with it. And even if you explain, like, look, I love you and I want to work through it, they like the thrill of the chase. They like getting the supply over. What's she going to do next? Is she going to cook an extra special dinner, or am I going to get a new television, or maybe she'll take me on a cruise? Like, they take whatever they can get, because if they're like, yeah, baby, let's work it out, we're like, cool, and we stay at that level, as opposed to, now I'm going above and beyond, and they're just eating it up. It's an ego stroke to them. Plus, they get the reward from it. The more upset we get, often the more we try, because we just want that pain to go away. But that narcissist has pain too. Skeletons in the closet. Um, just like I am heterosexual. I couldn't imagine. I think society is getting better. But if this was 20 years ago, like, the severe pain of not being able to tell people who you really are, or to have somebody understand to where you explain, why you are, different than society has in the past, and starting to get better now, but how in the past it was, don't talk about it. And even if you went into the army, the don't tell, you can't tell what you are. And I can't even imagine what trying to date somebody would be like. Like, you don't want to. Some people take offense to it, and it's kind of sad. Like, does it really matter if they just told you? Keep boundaries if that's what it needs to be, but to where people get offended, and sometimes they get violent over it, and you're scared, and you just want to live your life, and you're just trying to be polite and say, hey, would you think about that, or are you that way? Even just asking, are you that way? Like a narcissist, they're not going to come to us and say, hey, I'm a jerk, I lie, I'll probably cheat on you, it's going to be really good for a while, and then I'm going to screw it up, and you're going to go crazy, you're going to lose your mind. That's where the crazy making comes in, because they take away your reality because of the lies, because you believe in things, and it's not 100%. There are times that they do tell the truth. And I have been told so many lies, that he had told me an excuse that his friend killed himself. And I'm like, come on. And I was like, what a jerk. He's completely lying to me. That was the one time he told me the truth. And then I start feeling bad. So I start being overcautious in the future. I didn't call him out on it, luckily, because he did tell the truth. I would have even felt worse on that. But you should be able, especially in that kind of situation. Did you break your diet? It doesn't really matter. But, if you lie about somebody's death, like he did tell the truth. But that's where it gets confusing. What do I believe? When is it a lie? Like, you get used to the boy that cries wolf. And we relate things to our lives when we're like, yeah, I kind of lied to that person. Or, think about why you did it. It was to appease them probably, or to not let them get to know you as deep. You go to the bar. Where do you live? Oh, I live in a whole different state. You just sometimes it's for protection. And that's what the narcissist is doing, is they're lying for protection. They don't want those skeletons to come out. They are too afraid to let anybody in. And they need to fill themselves, and that's where the supply comes in. They need to fill themselves because they're so empty, they don't want to give anything. They'll do a facade, but they don't want to give part of their soul. They might come off some money if it, benefits them. They'll take you out to a beautiful dinner so you can spend the night, or so they can have a future with you. Because you're gonna, cook and clean, or pay the bills, or take care of the kids. But they can't give anything from inside. They have nothing to give. And even if they have that little bit, they're too scared to come up off that, even though we're feeding them. But they're not really feeding us truth, like a heart, a love truth. They're feeding us a facade. And think about that. Like, is that what you want to invest your life in? Do they always treat you the way you should be treated? Does it escalate? Does everything seem to always fall apart? They often like to cause arguments so they can get their way. They can go off, do their own thing. They can leave and say they need to take a drive when they're going to see their new supply, or to just get away so they can call them. They like, they feed off of us getting upset because it's kind of like they're upset inside, and they need to mirror. They're saying, this is who I am. I'm going to bring you down because this is my comfort zone. And it's kind of sad because we're like, I'm this, bright and beautiful and exciting and inspired person. And they're like, yeah, that was great. And they don't like, it's foreign to them. Just like some people, when they become famous, like, wouldn't that be cool? Like, you have all the money you need, all the trips, but it can be uncomfortable. Like, all these people just keep looking at me, or it's so different. Like, I'm a hometown country girl, and all of a sudden you're in this foreign world, which should be amazing. Like, you would think the narcissist would be like, wow, this is love. But they're like, nah, I just want to be a farm girl. Because even though it seems like everybody's dream, it's overwhelming. Just like if instantly you became famous. And I'll tell you what, I have a costume business also. And I was kind of famous. Like, if people knew me, okay? And it's kind of like, I just want to go to the store, and it's like, man, do I have to put on makeup? Do I have to do this? Do I have to do that? I don't want to talk to anybody right now. I just want to do my own thing. And it kind of makes you uncomfortable because it's not the world I grew up in. And I can't imagine being super famous. And just minutely. But a lot of people knew me. I'm from Michigan. Went down to Tampa, Florida, and somebody knew me that I never met. And, all of a sudden, I have a nickname, Gabby. And all of us, because it's Gabrielle's Costumes. But all of a sudden, I hear, Gabby! And I'm like, and they start talking to me, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I also did a hardcore pawn television show, and I went to a place in Indiana, and they recognized me just off of like a 2-minute blurb on a television show, and they took pictures with me, and can I call my husband? And it's like that is so not famous, but I know what that's like. It's like on a 5% level. So to be uncomfortable at a 5% level, that's how I relate what they are going through. That this is just too much. The money's not worth it to me. I just want to be able to take my daughter to the zoo without being interrupted and taking pictures with people, or we're going to get something to eat and then people sit down with us and I can't have a conversation with my daughter. So they get outside their comfort zone and they have to bring themselves back. And they don't care how beautiful the best is. It's outside their comfort zone. Just like some people drop out of the fame and fortune because it's too uncomfortable. Some people eat it up. Um, and sometimes, the narcissist will feed off of that until they get too exhausted. Because it's kind of like, oh, that's cool. Like if I was famous, you might really like it. And then something changes in your life, whether you had a baby or you just got fed up or you start getting paranoid. Like they know I have money now. I don't want them to know where I live. And you just want to go back into your safe zone. So the narcissist will escape, kind of like a famous person who is overwhelmed, to where whatever they had, they will escape. And then they just go find a new supply. A new supply might be on a lower scale to a comfort thing. Sometimes, we wonder, is a new supply better than us? To be honest, like, there are good and bad people. Usually, they'll be similar as far as quality, but sometimes they'll purposely do somebody lower than you to kind of make you like, "Ah, I can't believe they're with that person." And they'll say like how much, I don't know, let's say they said they hated redheads. Now all of a sudden they're with a redhead. Sometimes it's like to get back at you like, haha. That's why they also do a lot of selfies, because they want to be noticed. They want to kind of hurt and triangulate. Everything they do is really calculated, or they want to show off to the world that I'm the luckiest person. Look what I got. Have people jealous of them, envious of them, because they need to fill. All they have is skeletons in the closet, skeletons in their body. They just have the structure, but they don't have the heart or the lungs to breathe in the nourishment that, they don't have the organs, as an analogy. They don't have what keeps the soul alive. And I know the soul is kind of like a soul. It's not the body. But I hope that analogy makes sense. That the severe pain that I see with the suicide rates of the LGBTQ youth, is there's different statistics, but depends on what article you read. But they're like 4 times more likely to commit suicide. Another says 1.5 times. But they are a lot more prone to it. And I think it's because of, like they said, the fear of rejection, being teased. Sometimes you even lose out on opportunities. Like there's companies that were firing them. The narcissist, can they be the true them? Go to a job interview and say, yeah, I'm going to lie to you. I'm going to be manipulative. I'm going to take credit for stuff I didn't do. I'm going to expect you to think that, I'm entitled to things. And it's just a crazy life that they lead. So I just thought the skeletons in the closet, the pain that they feel, don't feel sorry for them. Don't feel sorry for them. It's just a hard situation. It's kind of sad, and I hate when people call them like dead inside or evil. This is what I hate. And when they call them evil, because, or that they're demons or fallen angels, like that hurts my heart because I have seen some good in them, but they also still take. And the sad part is like, my ex is kind of like, he didn't want to hurt me, but he did it to his needs. He didn't want to hurt me, But he also didn't want to come up off the truth, because then he would know that he hurt me. He would acknowledge that he hurt me. He would accept responsibility for the destruction of what we had. So, yeah, he didn't want to hurt me, but I hurt either way. I hurt more the way he did it. So, by him saving my pain, would have caused pain either way, whether he told me the truth or not. So, please like and subscribe. Please comment below. Let me know if you have anything you want to talk about, and I will talk to you next time. Have a good day.